All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the 2021 Cause Leadership Academy graduation. My name is Steve Lin, and I'm the director of the programs here at the Center for Asian Americans United for Self-Empowerment, otherwise known as CAUSE. I'll be your MC for the event. Before we begin, I would like to gently remind everyone to keep their microphones off during the program unless prompted. Please feel free to use the chat function to share any and all celebratory statements for the interns. This event is also transcribed or closed captioned, and you can find the button for that feature at the bottom of your screen. If you experience any lag, we encourage you to turn off your video and that might help. That said, welcome again. We're so excited to be here together today to celebrate this year's class of interns for the Cause Leadership Academy, or CLA for short. This program would not have been possible without the generosity of our sponsors. We would like to thank the Cause Leadership Academy sponsors, the Jewish Federation, the Jewish Federation, sorry, apologies. The Jewish Federation of Greater Los Angeles, Southern California Edison, Southern California Gas Company, Stand with Asians, Energy Upgrade, Civic Leadership Academy, and Unibail Rodamco Westfield. We would also like to thank our general sponsors for Causes programs, the JT Tai Foundation, Charlie Wu, Annenberg Foundation, East West Bank Foundation, Glassman Family Fund, Stand with Asians, Unibail Rodamco Westfield, Asia Pacific Community Fund, and Southwest Airlines. For those unfamiliar, CAUSE was founded in 1993 in the greater Los Angeles area. As a nonprofit, nonpartisan, community-based organization, CAUSE's mission is to advance the political and civic empowerment of the Asian Pacific American community. To these ends, the Cause Leadership Academy is an internship for college undergraduates that prepares the next generation to lead and represent the Asian Pacific American community. As the 31st cohort, the 2021 interns have spent this summer participating in a broad range of sessions exploring Asian Pacific American issues, networking with prominent leaders and community advocates, exploring ways to be civically engaged in the nonprofit, private, and public sector, building leadership skills, as well as working together on projects supporting the APA community. All of this completely online. While not without challenges, CLA interns have not just persevered, but have grown, thrived, and impacted the Asian Pacific American community in very meaningful ways. Congratulations to the 2021 CLA cohort for all you've accomplished this summer. And welcome to the Cause alumni family. Now I would like to invite Cause's Executive Director, Nancy Yap, to share a few words to commemorate the cohort.
Thank you, Steve, and hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. When thinking about ways to add to this virtual celebration, our team decided to stay true to the values of the program and support Asian and Pacific Islander businesses and organizations. Care packages were sent to each intern and those of you who RSVP'd early. They contained a collection of carefully curated items from local businesses in Little Tokyo, where Cause's office is located, to cultural museums, to new business ventures. These items offer another way for each of us to engage and support Asian and Pacific Islander communities. We hope that you enjoy these items, find connection with one another, and continue to explore how you can engage and support our communities each day. And for our interns, I just want to say congratulations. Thank you for spending this summer with Cause and being open to where this rabbit hole would take you. From 90s hip hop to energy conservation, we know these conversations and moments will be meaningful into your careers. And through it all, we hope you stay true to your values, you find connection, and you explore ways to engage and support our communities each day, as well as center our stories. Because if there is one thing that Cause Network has shared this summer, it is that when you get that seat at that table, you won't be alone. The relationships you have built along the way will be with you. And on that note, I will pass the mic over to CAUSE founder and board chair, Charlie Wu, to say a few words and introduce our keynote speaker.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to join Steve and Nancy in congratulating all of you for this graduation ceremony. Although the program is coming to an end, but I'm not ready to say goodbye here. Instead, at the same time, we welcome everybody into the CAUSE family. The strength of CAUSE programs is beyond the official session that you have had. We have developed a strong network of CAUSE friends and supporters, whether it is your peers that you have got to know during these sessions, the mentors you have met, the community leaders, the political leaders, as well as the CAUSE board members. Those relations sometimes last for a long time. I personally am still in touch with many of the graduates from 20-some years ago. And at this occasion, I'd like to share with you a short story about Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple Computers. As some of you may know, Steve Jobs was a college dropout. When he decided to quit his college classes required for graduation, he dropped in on classes that he found interesting or he was curious about. One of those classes was a class in calligraphy. It is in this class that he learned the beauty of written words. Little did he know that years later, when he decided to create a computer, the Macintosh, he used the same skill, the appreciation you learned in this class, calligraphy, to design the beautiful topography of the Mac computers, which gave Mac its popularity and success, and which in turn revolutionized the computer industry. When he took that class in calligraphy, he had no idea that that would lead to such important accomplishment in his life. And as he would tell the story, life is like connecting dots. You cannot know where you're going, looking forward. It's only afterwards you look back and you realize how those dots are connected in a way that lead to that chart the path through your career journey and that lead to your success. And the reason I want to share with you this story is to give you the confidence that if you pursue your passion and your curiosity, and then you would lead to good things that would be positive in your career. And hopefully the events in the past few weeks in the CAUSE Leadership Academy, you have created some of those dots yourself. Either the friendship you make or the mentors you have met or the political business leaders that use the skill you have learned, this all come to be very useful in later part in your career. Although you don't know yet what that lead to, but you will find out looking back to this experience. And as you know that you have met many outstanding community, political, and business leaders in your past few weeks. And you have met a lot of them. And one person you have not met is probably one of the most illustrious political leader of the Asian American community, at least in my lifetime. And that is John Chiang. He was first elected twice to the State Board of Equalization of California, which is the authority on all tax matters in California. He was later elected twice to the state controller's position. He was the chief fiscal officer overseeing the 5th largest economy in the world. And after serving on 2 terms as state controller, he became the treasurer of California, he was the banker, investment banker for the state of California. But to the CAUSE family, he was a founder. He was a founding board member, although one of the youngest board member in the CAUSE history. And I still remember in the summer of 1993, 28 years ago, he rolled his sleeve to work with us to create CAUSE. And although he became busy in his political life, he never forgot about us and the project, his passion about giving back to the community through course. And every opportunity he had, he would come and talk to the younger generation. So to cap off your outstanding list of political leaders, and we have the founder and one of the closest friends that cause can have in John Chiang.
Congratulations, Cause Leadership Academy graduates. Take a moment, take it in. You made a significant achievement and did something incredibly productive with your summer. I want you to think about this experience. Think about this moment in history and think about what you garnered from your experience with the Leadership Academy. We are in unprecedented times, a global health pandemic that has continued, and with some semblance of an argument, the variants, the Delta variant, the South America variant, and possibly other variants, something that can endure. What is your role in making sure that this local community, the larger state, our country and our nation and our world come together to address this issue in a more potent, more effective manner? Think about the issues that you covered during this program. Think about the tool set and skills that you learned and hopefully are implementing to improve not only yourself, not only your family, not only your friends, those that you care about, but this world. And think about the issues that perhaps you weren't passionate about, but now are passionate because of the experiences that you garnered this summer. And then think about the leaders that you got to hear from and hopefully work with and engage with. What skills, what elements, what qualities, what characters moved you? What did you want to pick up from them? And then hopefully think about how others view you. How do you view yourself? And what do you want to press upon and share with others so that others, yes, can learn from you and improve? This is something very different in regards to what I'm talking about than other classes. A little bit like last year, but very unlike your predecessor classes, because this experience is very different. Not the challenges the world faces, but the manner in which you address them. As I have said to others in the past, politics is the exercise of power. And leadership is how do you move large swaths of people to do things, to experience things, to think about things that not only make them uncomfortable, but to take action. Leaders have to find that appropriate balance as to how you move people. So how do you feel that you are today, this very moment as a leader, relative compared to when you start this program? And then one of the things that I trust that you learned during this program is that the people in your life are absolutely critical to your success, not just professional success, but personal fulfillment, personal engagement, personal happiness. I hope you will invest the very soul of your being, every fiber of your being, to being the best family member, the best friend that you can be, the best coworker, because truly that's how you effectuate your optimal power, your maximum power as to how you change this world. Now, I hope you feel inspired. I hope you feel challenged. Sometimes things can get dark and things can be very challenging. It's easy to understand with how difficult things are. But how you react to that is within your own capacity. It is within your own power. And so don't let things take you down permanently. Understand sometimes things just feel too big, they're too grand, they can be too overwhelming. But understand if you break things down to its smallest elements and you just make progress, just one step forward, just one word forward, just one action forward, right? That creates the momentum and the impetus. And I hope all of you understand through this what your next dream is. Maybe you've had a long-standing dream that you've always wanted to accomplish. Perhaps you don't have one. You don't understand. You don't have a clear vision of what your future want to be. I hope you will work together with others despite until you get clarity in your life, to continue to make progress. You truly have a gift. Charlie Wu, who founded this program, Nancy, who's an extraordinary leader, who's, to Charlie's strategic vision, to Nancy's operational and tactical effectiveness, selected you because you have something special in yourself. And so don't forget, when things are difficult, when you don't feel you can make it, others believe in you. And it's just not Charlie and Nancy. There's others who you may not know that you have impacted, who understand the possibilities, who understand your capabilities, who understand your capacity to truly make a profound difference. Now, we have difficult choices to make. If you take no action, you're still going to be impacted. Being in California this summer, you understand the critical issues. You see our friends and our neighbors whose lives are being devastated by the wildfires. We see that many of us are being impacted by the drought. We see, unfortunately, on the streets of Los Angeles and the streets of California and the streets throughout this nation, and frankly, you expect it under every underpass, to see homelessness. You see the devastation and those stories of kids who are studying at the local Taco Bell so that they can get Wi-Fi access. Our challenges are big, but understand with each of those instances, your capacity to respond, because you are amongst the best and the brightest. You go to incredibly prestigious universities. When you think about what has happened in Afghanistan and what you're thinking about the prospects for women in Afghanistan and the devastation, and their rights and opportunities are going to be impacted. And unfortunately, that's not uncommon in many places in this world, the gift that you have truly been given. So as I leave you with this program, and I want to honor and celebrate your incredible work, but more importantly, as a fellow Californian, some of you are only temporary Californians, but as a fellow human, I expect to see extraordinary greatness from you. That's what Charlie and Nancy and the Cause family expects. You have been endowed with extraordinary gifts, extraordinary expectations. Don't shy from those expectations. Understand that people only expect great things of you because you have demonstrated that you can achieve incredible capacity to change our world. And not many people have that capacity to the extent that you have. Not only that innate capacity, but the opportunity to work with truly inspired, visionary leaders, your family at Cause, who not only celebrate your graduation today, but want to ensure your success in the future. So you're not going to be a stranger. Make sure you're not a stranger. Make sure you stay in touch. And together we will achieve what others expect from us.
Thank you to the Honorable John Chiang for those comments and congratulations. The Leadership Academy is our longest running program and has served as an incubator for so many change makers, with graduates moving on to lead and represent the Asia Pacific American community. This year, the COVID-19 pandemic presented a number of challenges. While the internship was completely an online experience, adjustments were made and new online tools were used to allow us to gather, and in the end, CLA was able to offer the same opportunities that have been the hallmark of this program. Over the past 9 weeks, interns have participated in a broad range of opportunities. Through weekly civic leadership workshops, interns met with over 50 community leaders and explored APA issues like mental health and anti-Asian hate, direct service and mutual aid, built leadership and project skills, as well as connected with Cause's large network. Interns were also able to participate in a virtual Capitol Summit, where they met with elected state officials, California staffers and politicos, other interns, and got an inside look at what it looks like working in the Capitol. We would like to recognize and thank all of our speakers and guest facilitators. It is your time, knowledge, and generosity that has truly enriched and inspired the interns. In addition to meeting with and networking with speakers, interns worked on 2 community impact projects. For their internship, they focused on a project for Energy Upgrade California. For their community impact project, they researched information about the 2022 Los Angeles race for the mayor's office, as well as critical issues to the Asian Pacific Americans of Los Angeles. In a moment, the interns will share their work from this summer. But first, on a personal note, it has been through these opportunities I have had the privilege to get to know each and every one of you. What your goals are, what you're passionate about, what you are knowledgeable about, and where you still have questions. I've learned that you are thoughtful, curious, brave, opinionated, fierce, kind, hardworking, patient, funny, skilled, smart, inspiring, and that you are advocates for all of us in all of our intersections. Most importantly, you are all leaders. You all came to this program as leaders in your families, communities, on campus, at work. It is my sincere hope that this experience has grown both your leadership capacity as well as your confidence, given you a community, including us here at Cause, that will remind you that you are worthy and that you are destined to make a positive change in the world. We are incredibly proud of all of our interns and the work they have created, and we're excited for them to present to us all here what they have worked on hard all summer. Now on to the presentation for the CLA projects. Please join me in welcoming our intern class to present their work from this summer.
All right, thank you, Steve. Unfortunately, I am having some camera problems right now, but let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, can you see it? Great.
Looks great.
All right, thank you, Justine. So yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Byron Briones, and I will be the MC of our presentation to show y'all what we have been working on. For 9 weeks, everyone has been hard at work to empower our community, listening to experts in the field, learning more about APA issues, getting our feet wet in advocacy, and developing our own professional skills. And we're all excited to show you our work. Whether we are making TikToks or having spicy hot takes on cancel culture, we've all grown in our own ways on how to uplift our own stories and erase our barriers. Every day, the group started off being serenaded by Steve's 90s hip hop music and got to work. And we're also excited to show y'all the culmination. So as y'all can see, this platform on the left was actually how we did a lot of our work. This Overlord Steve and Justine domineering over us. Specifically, we worked on and will be presenting on the Energy Upgrade Campaign, the 2022 LA Mayor Election, and our work on educating about APA issues. If y'all have any questions, please put it in our Q&A panel and we will be answering questions at the end. So first up is Energy Upgrade California. So Energy Upgrade California is a statewide campaign adopted by our state government to encourage Californians to be more energy efficient. You could just think of it as a marketing campaign, except it's not made by a company and they're trying to get you to spend less on power. They're just trying to teach you about tips, tricks, rebates, energy management tools, and really just trying to teach the everyday Californian on how to save energy and save the earth. So Energy Upgrade California actually has a specific focus on minority communities. And they're working with the nonprofits you see over here on the right to focus on APA members on saving energy. So this is actually how Cause is involved with this campaign and why we're working on Energy Upgrade California. We're all working with them to create a digital narrative to encourage the APA community to save energy by raising our own stories. So to start that off, we had interviews with elderly members and talked about their experience and identity as an APA member and how that intersects with their habits and ways of conserving energy. We created blog posts that provided the foundation for our thinking and our theory. We also created short form videos that went hand in hand with the social media campaign that encouraged everyone to save energy. All in all, we just wanted to put our foot down, saying that we can do energy conservation too, and that we can do it even better. So why are we doing this? Well, let's not mince words. We are in a human-driven climate crisis. And yes, I checked, we're not losing our 501(c) status by making this statement. It is not partisan. This is definitely not fine. We are all surrounded by fire. I live in Vegas, and boy, it is hotter than this entire cohort. In fact, the IPCC report said that 14,000 studies conclude that climate change is man-made and real, and we all need to make contributions to save ourselves. I'll now be passing it on to Lena.
So from our conversations with Sandeep Tungar and Dr. Victor Thompson, we found that energy conservation is a priority in both of their lives. Mr. Tungar is an Indian American who loves his garden, and Dr. Thompson is a Pacific Islander with a passion for playing the ukulele, but they both describe the importance of conserving resources and preserving the land that means so much to them. So the image of what we are told environmentalism should look like typically does not include Asian Pacific Americans or their cultural practices. But as we can see from the first two percentages, Asian Pacific Americans care deeply about the environment. Yet even so, their voices are not represented in the most important decision-making processes. Western conservation methods and Asian Pacific American conservation practices are both important contributions to the larger environmental movement. In my family, my grandparents on my dad's side taught me to fold plastic bags in squares, whereas my other set of grandparents told me tying them in knots was the way to go. So even within the community, there are variations. But as I said before, these differences do not make one way any less valuable.
So another way we investigated energy conservation was through the perspective of Korean American pastor Ted Kang. And as we interviewed Pastor Kang, we realized that there's a little bit of an issue for our community in the energy movement, and that is the lack of APA recognition of our diversity. Asian Americans aren't a monolithic group, and there's a lot more to it than just one or two different cultures. And Pastor Kang gives us an example of how not many resources are translated into various Asian languages. And if they are, it's limited to just Chinese and Japanese. And that outreach is very minimal to our community, and that needs to change if we want to be more inclusive. So we took his words and his knowledge and turned them into social media posts, such as on the next slide. We used a quote directly from his interview and made it into a Twitter post. And on the slide after this one, we added some statistics on the APA community and energy conservation in addition to his quotes. You can follow more of our social media campaigns on any of these social media platforms listed down below.
Okay, so one of the challenges in outreaching to the APA community about energy conservation is that while this is often practiced by many members in the Asian community, especially the elders, it is not often framed as energy conservation, and it is not often framed as being good for the planet as a whole. In fact, one of my insights is that when talking to older APA members and asking them what they do to be more green is going to get you some confused looks. And for many APA members who learn practices from their parents, like turning off the light, conserving water, growing fruits and vegetables instead of flowers, reusing containers, and etc., they were taught to do this to save money, and with frugality being a common cultural value. So when trying to learn about the green practices of Asian immigrants, I often had to ask about how they save on their utility bills, asking how they save on water, use less electricity, reusing everyday plastic items, often got a much more enthusiastic response than when I asked questions about green practices or recycling. And none of this meant as a shade on the Asian community. It's completely understandable considering most of the people I talked to and interviewed were still getting settled into this country, and obviously were more concerned with day-to-day living and expenses and less with planet-wide issues. In fact, I think this is an important insight for community leaders who want to be more green. When trying to convince people that your idea is a good one, it is important to meet them where they're at and frame your ideas in ways that they can understand. Just imagine, you're not going to walk up to an old Asian grandma and explain how energy conservation will reduce greenhouse emission gas to 1990s levels, right? She'll probably hit you with her purse. And like I mentioned previously, Turning off the light, conserving water, etc. are learned practices from our parents from a young age. That ultimately became an inspiration for my group to come up with the social media post that you're looking at right now. Of course, this is only a snippet of it because I want our guests here today to go to our COS Instagram page to get the full story. And again, here's just another cute post that my group came up with that provided some tips for us to decrease our energy consumption this summer and increase our savings.
Another one of our important priorities is emphasizing that APA values are environmental values and that environmental values are APA values. They're fundamentally compatible and in fact can be based on each other. We're presenting a social media post that's presenting some supporting information like the fact that Asian Americans are 2 times more likely to participate in certain energy efficiency programs like weatherization services compared to white Americans. In addition to this, we noted that the culture of collectivism in APA communities inherently promotes environmental protection since environmentalism requires individual sacrifice for a greater good. We expressed this in one social media post in which we talked about a Filipino concept called Bahanihan, which is a term that refers to a spirit of commonality, unity, and community to reach a certain goal. We created a social media post explaining this concept and interviewed Byron's granduncle, who had stories of how he gave out solar lights and let people carpool in his Asian utility vehicle to help others out. So these were some of the ways we wanted to emphasize that APA values were fundamentally compatible with environmental values.
So with all of this information, we learned that there are 3 ways that we can be the change for the APA community. First, form sustainable habits. Doing the smallest things like turning off your lights or saving plastic bags does a lot more than you actually think. Second, be involved to uplift the APA community and our voices. We need to listen to what our community needs and turn those words into actual actions. And finally, start a conversation with a friend, family, or even stranger just to continue educating our community about what it needs, in particularly concerning energy conservation.
Excellent. Fantastic and educational presentation related to energy conservation. We would now like to take a quick moment to offer an opportunity for attendees to ask questions of our interns about their presentation. If you'd like to use the chat, you can raise your hand and we can unmute you so you can ask in person, or as Byron had mentioned earlier on, you can use the Q&A function to ask your question. So I'm reading in our chat here, our board member Ben Wong is asking, when using a fan, make sure to turn it off when you leave the room. It provides no benefit in the room. It provides no benefit if nobody is in the room. Unlike air conditioning, fans do not change the temperature of the air. They work through promoting evaporative cooling. Fantastic information there. Thank you, Ben. We'll see if other audience members had questions for our interns. If not, we'll continue on to their second project. Please feel free to continue dropping any questions into the chat or to drop them into the Q&A. And with that, I'll pass it back to Byron.
Yes, thank you, Steve. It turns out I'm still having camera problems, unfortunately, but the show must go on. So, as many of y'all know, CAUSE at its heart is more than just a place to get charmed by Charlie Wu, but a civic engagement organization. And our #1 goal is to have each and every resident have their voice heard at the table. One way we could do this is through the 2022 LA mayoral race, because Garcetti may be going to India soon, and we need to focus on getting everyone to vote, especially the APA population. So from here on, I'll be passing it on to Sean on some of the basics we wanted the APA population to know.
One of the first priorities of the mayoral race is simply to let them know the dates. That means, when do they have to register by? When do they have to vote in the mail by? When will polling stations open? Even tracking down the dates for us was difficult, so spreading this relatively hard to access information to the APA community is important. We have multiple iterations of the same information that we're going to post over time just to serve as a constant reminder that these are the dates that they need to be mindful of.
Yes. And for the roles of the mayor, of course, to many people, what the mayor does may just seem like common sense and it seems like something everyone would know, but it does help to serve as a quick reminder and as a refresher to some of those, especially for recent immigrants who may be unfamiliar with our political system.
So within the political dynamic of offices, we have the City Council, the Senate Assembly, and Congress. And City Council is a legislative body for the city that mainly oversees ordinances and other factors within the public sector. And the mayor's relationship to City Council is how they can be part of voting, propose budget plans, approve legislation, appoint city officials, and much more. And the Senate Assembly is the state legislature that works with the governor. And the mayor's relationship with the state legislatures is how cities' financial situation and capacities are highly reliant by the Senate and Assembly's decision. And now finally, Congress is the federal legislative branch that makes laws, pass bills, decides policymaking, etc. So the mayor's relationship with Congress is based on everything that includes with education, income, transportation, infrastructure, social welfare, healthcare, environmental issues, and much more, since all of these issues matter directly to local communities.
So in order to better understand the issues facing Asian Pacific American populations, we have to look at the data. This next slide shows the racial breakdown in Los Angeles City, and Asian Pacific Americans make up about 11.5% of the whole. Los Angeles has the highest population of Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander residents than any other continental US city, but at just 0.1% of the total population, it's not difficult to see how their needs might be overlooked. On this next slide showing disaggregated data, we can see that there's a lot more diversity and nuance within these racial groups, and there's such a wide range of subgroups within just that small segment that was the Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander population. We wanted to focus on Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders in particular because across the various subgroups, many struggle with healthcare inequities, educational disparities, and more. However, federal and state agencies often fail to disaggregate data that's necessary to better inform policy. Education and COVID-19 are two significant examples of how Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander communities struggle in comparison to other racial groups. The percent of Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders that graduate college is significantly lower than the rest of the population, and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders also have the highest number of COVID-19 cases per 100,000 people out of all racial groups in California. Now, after looking at the data, it's clear that Native Hawaiian Pacific Islanders have diverse needs. Connecting back to the LA Mayoral Election, here are some recommendations on policy areas that the mayoral office should focus on in order to support a community that should be noticed and prioritized.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Lena. So we wanted to add a Los Angeles perspective on many issues because in our little mayoral race, we wanted to get residents out and voting. And to do that, we wanted to create a sense of urgency and importance on why they need to vote, especially for the APA population. So based on that, we wanted to illustrate the problems that are in LA. And no, I'm not talking about problems like if it's 99 Ranch or Ranch 99, but these are much, much bigger issues like ethnic studies or gentrification in LA Chinatown. By having a uniquely Los Angeles lens in our content, the APA population can see that these issues are affecting their everyday life, as well as their neighbors, and that the mayor is crucial to erasing these barriers.
Thank you for that, Byron. For our first APA topic, I'll be tackling the importance of ethnic studies in LAUSD. To begin with a definition for ethnic studies are units of study, courses, or programs that are centered on the knowledges and perspectives of an ethnic or racial group, reflecting narratives and points of view rooted in that group's lived experiences and intellectual scholarship. Given that there has been some disinformation surrounding what ethnic studies is, we thought it was important to define what it's not. Mainly, ethnic studies is not just shaming white people for being racist or giving students a pessimistic view of society, by giving students a more well-rounded view of society that adequately reflects the history of Black BIPOC, or Black Indigenous people of color, both the good and the bad. Here are just a few examples of notable events that aren't currently being taught well enough in history curriculum, but are core to our history as BIPOC folks. The Tulsa Massacre, the Chinese Exclusion Act, and Japanese internment. Many more examples are listed below. In government policy, we've seen steady progress when it comes to making ethnic studies requirements more widespread. Most recently, the California State Board has created an ethnic studies model curriculum for high schools to adopt parts of. And the LAUSD has indicated that they will require an ethnic studies course for graduation by 2022 to 2023. I'm going to end by reiterating the importance of ethnic studies. Currently, the overwhelming dominance of Euro-American perspectives in school has led many BIPOC students to disengage from academic learning. Ethnic studies are crucial for capturing our rich and presently neglected history, and doing so has also been proven to tangibly boost academic and social outcomes for BIPOC students. It's critical that this is an issue that voters are made aware of going into the next mayoral election.
The lack of data and research has always been an issue within the APA community, but COVID-19 has re-highlighted the detrimental impact it can have. Due to the model minority myth, Asian Americans as a whole are viewed as being successful enough that data and research efforts should be focused on other groups instead. For example, the National Institute of Health reveals that in the past 10 years, less than 1% of their funding was awarded to Asian American research. And this lack of research and focus on Asian Americans has caused the severity of COVID-19 in Asian American communities to remain largely unknown, despite being possibly one of the most impacted by COVID-19 due to xenophobia and racism. And this is why it is so important for us to participate in the LA Mayoral Election. And the LA Mayor can advocate and push for more APA data and research. And it is up to us to be aware and intentional with who will be representing us and making decisions for us.
Another topic we focused on was preserving LA Chinatown from gentrification. Now, gentrification is a big word with a lot of complicated meanings, but in short, it's an oppressive force that changes historically disinvested neighborhoods, forcing low-income residents to move with newer, more expensive real estate investment. This exact phenomenon has been occurring in Chinatown in recent times, but let's talk a little history. Chinatown used to occupy what is now the El Pueblo Los Angeles Historical Monument, but was leveled in the 1920s to develop a train station. Since then, Chinatown has flourished where it is now, but has recently been struggling with modern investments, forcing out its historical residents. Why does this matter? Well, not only are thousands of low-income immigrant residents of Chinatown being driven out of their historical and cultural home, but gentrification also destroys much of the history and culture that makes LA Chinatown so special in the first place. I think Professor Andrew Long put it best that the neighborhoods may still look like Chinatown, but are really just Disney-fied versions of the neighborhoods they once were.
We wanted to add a Los Angeles perspective of Asian hate, so we created a social media post describing some statistics of the rise in APA hate in LA. For example, did you know that Asian hate in LA more than doubled, and in California, they have risen more than 107% from 2019 to 2020? We put some quick quotes of some of the horrible things people have heard in the streets of LA, like, your people bought coronavirus to this country, go back to your own country. We then asked our audience, what will your mayor do to stop the rise in APA hate? Will they protect our community? Will they advocate for us when others won't listen? Will they understand our struggles and resolve them? We called to them to action by asking them to vote in the upcoming election.
Hello, I'm back and here to overview our final APA issue, mental health. As a cohort, we all worked on this topic and researched a number of different perspectives together. To start, there are a number of barriers broadly faced by the APA community when it comes to mental health, extending across cultural, language, and financial barriers. Some of these include the culture of silence dismissal and denial towards mental health, the fact that 32.6% of Asian Americans do not speak English fluently, or that there's a massive disparity when it comes to health insurance coverage for Asian American and Pacific Islanders. Next, here are just some general statistics pertaining to mental health in the APA community. You can see the different rates of mental illness for different populations. But what is most of note is the fact that 73.1% of APA adults with mental illnesses are not getting treatment, compared to 56.7% of the overall population. This is a huge issue, as it means that the aforementioned barriers are translating into real disparities when it comes to seeking treatment. We also wanted to take the time to spotlight Southeast Asian and Pacific Islander specific issues when it comes to mental health, as both groups face distinct barriers with mental health. For Pacific Islanders, there's a lack of adequate data disaggregation that results in significant knowledge gaps regarding Pacific Islander health. For Southeast Asian, there's lots of cultural beliefs towards Western medicine characterized by skepticism and misinterpretation, further presenting a further obstacle to their underuse of mental health services. There's also some shared obstacles towards mental health care between these two groups. These include personal and cultural stigma, lower attainment rates for education, difficulties with healthcare access, PTSD from war experiences, and being unjustly burdened by the model minority myth. Tying back to our goal of educating voters on how their vote in the mayoral election can empower APA mental health, here are just a few things that the mayor's office can do. The mayor's office has the ability to propose funding for mental health programs and data collection. They can advocate for specific mental health resources, outreach, and educational programs. And the mayor's office can take the initiative to fund programs to divert nonviolent mental health related issues away from law enforcement and into the hands of specially trained community health members.
Excellent. Thank you again to the interns for all the fantastic information related to the responsibilities of the mayor's office, some of the critical dates for voting for the mayor's office, as well as issues that are critical to the Asian and Pacific American community here in Los Angeles. To that end, we want to take another few moments here to pause and offer an opportunity for the audience to, once again, ask our interns any questions that they might have that the presentation may have brought to the table. We do have a question, a comment in the Q&A here. Attendee noted, would definitely recommend checking out the CCED LA, Chinatown Community for Equitable Development, to help with direct actions or other ways to support. There is a question from Dan Schnur in our chat. All of these are critical issues, great work. But if you had to choose just one, which would it be, interns?
I think that's a really tough question to ask. If I had to give an answer right now, I would say it is the anti-Asian violence, because it is the topic that is most directly threatening the lives and safety of our community members. And I think you can see how it impacts like the mental health and like almost like everyday existence of so many of us, you know, like having to fear for ourselves being around and going outside. And I think that it is like a issue that has only been most recently blown to the proportions that it has, and I think it has to be the most quickly and most significantly addressed because of that.
In my opinion, I think that mental health is most important, but I'd say for the opposite reason of API hate. API hate is all over the news, and just ask anyone on the street and they can talk to you about it. But mental health, no one talks about it, and our families and our communities, it's hidden. And it needs to be talked about more, and the message needs to be spread. And I'd say if there was one issue that we had to focus on for the entire 9 weeks, I'd say I would have worked on mental health, because it's so heavily stigmatized.
Fantastic questions and even better answers. I appreciate everyone for participating. So to keep our presentation moving along, I want to thank everyone for jumping in with the questions, but we will go ahead and pass it back to Byron to close us out.
Yes, thank you all for the questions. Let's go ahead and put this in. So in summary, we've all done so much in the past 9 weeks. We've done networking, we've gained professional skills, we've understood the issues that affected our community and improved our teamwork abilities. And energy upgrade, we focus on our own stories on how we do sustainability in our own way. And rather than having our habits labeled as just as an immigrant thing, it is now an environmental thing. And the mayoral election, we focus on spreading basic information so that people get a foundational understanding of what to do and how the mayor impacts the APA community. Then we analyze APA issues and how that works in a Los Angeles lens. So this work was very empowering for us because of just how much new knowledge and skills that we gained. And we hope that you were empowered by it too, but don't use too much power because you got to save energy. Excuse us for the terrible jokes. But that is the end of our presentation. So thank you all so much for tuning in. We wanted to give a thanks to Steve, Justine, Nancy, Talia, and Farah, and to the countless others who have offered their time, energy, mentorship, and panelists. You've seen us grown from awkward, quiet networkers to great advocates, and we're so grateful to you. And we are proud of the work we have done, and we hope that someday in the future, you can see how successful we'll be, and you can say, hey, I remember when they were just TikTok stars in college. So you can actually see many of our posts on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So if you see them, give them a like and comment, beat the algorithm, and help our advocacy reach more eyes and ears. Thank you, and I'll be putting it back to Steve.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Byron. And thank you to all the interns. If we could give another round of appreciation and applause to our interns for all of the hard work, research that they've done, not only in putting together the presentation, but also sharing out this, all the social media campaigns and the videos. Again, there is an opportunity to get more plugged in. You can check out their works on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So please do check those out. In the meantime, would like now to introduce this year's CLA intern keynote to share a testimonial about their experience. This intern recently graduated summa cum laude from the University of California, Los Angeles, with a BA in English and a minor in classical civilizations. The daughter of Filipino immigrants, originally from Guam and currently residing in Ventura County. Please join me in welcoming our 2021 CLA intern keynote, Shanahan, Europa.
Thank you, Steve. Hello and good afternoon, everybody. To all of the families, friends, cause staff, community members, and esteemed guests, thank you for joining us today to honor the 2021 Cause Leadership Academy cohort. I hope you enjoyed our presentation showcasing our achievements over this past summer. By now, you've heard about our spicy hot takes, countless hours on Canva, market research on TikTok, and listening to Steve's Fire music playlist. We've had many wonderful opportunities to connect and network with many APA pioneers and leaders across various sectors. And I know that many of us are graduating from this program with new mentors, friendships, and clarity and enthusiasm for the next stages of our careers. The 2021 CLA cohort convened during a very difficult and fraught time in our nation's contemporary history. Amidst the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, where the APA community has been disproportionately affected, a subsequent rise in Asian American and Pacific Islander hate crimes and discrimination, and the suppression of Black, Indigenous, and voters of colors in political elections, we learned the importance and power of representation, advocacy, and community. In spite of these challenges and working entirely virtually, we we were still able to create an entire social media and educational campaign centering on our unique APA lenses, reaching a wide audience within and outside of our own community. At the core of our civic engagement projects was a desire to celebrate our cultural practices, values, and voices. Whether it be energy conservation, politics, or policy, we had one resounding message: all APA experiences have, do, and will always matter. Preparing for this speech, I went through my many pages of notes from our weekly sessions and workshops. Within them, I noticed a common piece of advice shared by many of our panelists. You need to have a seat at the table. Thank you, Cause, for giving us, the 2021 CLA cohort, a seat at the table. In Filipino culture, there is this term, utang na loob, meaning a debt of gratitude or a debt to one's inner self. In its original use, utang na loob describes a debt a child feels to their parents for raising them and providing everything for them to succeed. That debt represents love, obligation, and conviction. I would like to think that we interns now possess utang na loob for all of Cause, for the skills, knowledge, and confidence you've instilled to be change makers ourselves. Recently, utang na loob has also adopted a new meaning, a responsibility for the greater good. Now, at the end of this program, we possess an invigorated passion for empowering and uplifting the APA community, all for the greater good. Because we hold this responsibility to leave the world a safer, more just, and equitable place, not only for ourselves, but our family, friends, and our past and future generations too. Watch out, world. The 2021 CLA cohort has a lot in store for you. Thank you again to Cause for giving us a seat at the table, for seeing our potential and welcoming us, for pulling the chair out for us, for challenging us to dream bigger and aim higher, and for helping us realize the impact we as individuals can make in our communities, for giving us a soft place to land in all of our failures, successes, and journeys in life. In the words of one of our workshop speakers, Diana Huang, leaders fail more times than beginners even try. So, CLA interns, don't be afraid to try or fail, because you have an entire community to catch you, an entire community waiting for you to empower each other and make more seats at the table. Personally, I would like to thank Steve, Justine, and Farah for supporting us throughout our projects and being endless sources of knowledge, support, and musical stylings. Thank you to my teammates, Patrick, Emily, and Lena, for all the laughter, joy, videos of your cats, and your presence. I'm so grateful to be your teammate and friend. And lastly, thank you to my amazing cohort. I'm so grateful to have met you and grown with you.
Thank you so much, Shanahan, for sharing those moving words, insights, and other important wisdoms. We really appreciated learning more about the 2021 CLA experience. And to the audience, my name is Justine Ventura Mejia, and as Cause Programs Manager, I have had the honor to work closely with the 2021 CLA interns throughout this journey. Over the summer, I have seen them in so many successes and look forward to seeing them through all of the attempts that they make moving forward. As Shanahan has uplifted, she does have an amazing cohort, and we would like to recognize the brilliant graduating interns that worked alongside her and commemorate the cohort's completion of the 2021 Cause Leadership Academy program. With this said, we will now invite each intern to make brief remarks and thank yous to the community. We enthusiastically encourage our audience to cheer on our interns by sharing celebratory remarks and sentiments in the chat box, as well as through the Zoom reaction feature if you have that. With this said, I am going to go ahead and turn my camera off and pass it over to Andre Chiang.
Thank you, Justine. I just want to say my experience has been extremely fulfilling, and everything I've learned from Cause, I will be taking with me wherever my career leads. Cause has not only taught me about important APA issues and the advocacy involved, but also given me the resources and the network to be an effective leader in my community. Thank you, and now I'll turn over the mic to Andy Lee.
Thank you to Cause. This has been an incredible experience. When I first applied, I had no idea what to expect. Through my experience in CLA, I've learned quite a bit about community organizing, civic engagement, and the various functions of the LA Mayor's Office, as well as the Energy Upgrade California project. I've had the excellent opportunity to work and collaborate with a talented cohort of interns, each from every walk of life bringing unique abilities to the team. I've been able to connect more with my Asian American roots as well and rethink previously held stereotypes about our community. Most importantly, CLA has been an enriching and rewarding experience that has connected me with so many amazing people. I would like to thank all 13 of my fellow interns for your dedication and sense of humor, Justine, Steve, and Nancy for running this program so effectively despite the virtual nature, Farah for providing the constant social media advice and support, and the entire Cause USA board for always being so generous with your time and individual office hours. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to Byron Rionis.
Thank you, Andy. Looks like I finally got my camera working, and I would like to say thank you, staff. Thank you, board, for all of your time and all of your energy. When I first started Cause, I felt like I was seriously doubting my own professional abilities. I feel like 5 years of school have worn me out, and my ability to stand up for myself and ability to lead. But this was the perfect way to end my undergraduate experience, internship wise and professional wise. And I can't wait to jump in my future career in the Capitol. And I hope to see y'all around. And for my cohort, thank you so much for enduring me, all of my lip bites, all of my simps. And with that, I give you the final Zoom. Thank you. And I will be passing it on to Emily.
Thanks, Byron, for that. That was iconic. I just want to say thank you so much to Justine and Steve, Farah and Nancy. Y'all did an amazing job. And also to all the speakers who came and took their time out to just share your knowledge with us and experience. And biggest shout out to Team Sleep, Patrick, Lena, and Shanahan. Y'all really made this whole internship amazing. I truly learned so much about not only myself, but just how to be a better collaborator, and just really getting the opportunity to engage more with my community. And I'm just so grateful for this experience. But with that said, I'm gonna pass the mic over to Fiona Trong.
Hi, I just want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone that I've crossed paths with throughout these past 9 weeks, especially to Justine and Steve for maintaining all of our meetings and helping us coordinate and really learn the tropes of what we were supposed to be doing throughout the entire summer. I don't think this whole internship could have been possible without their help. Also, thank you to my team, Sean Lee and Suki Zhao. They really were big part of these last 9 weeks as we worked closely together on these projects, and I couldn't say that I learned more from anyone else but them. When I first joined Cause, I came in here a really confused undergraduate student, not really knowing where my life is going to take me. But I can confidently say now that after going through various workshops, talking to so many guest speakers, which I appreciate, I can say that I think I found out a little bit more about what I want to do, and I am on track. So thank you so much for everyone and for everyone who is here today. And with that, I'm going to pass off the mic to Jen Gallardo.
So hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And first off, shout out to my fellow cohorts. It's been 9 weeks of fun, heart-holding, and tears and laughter, and I can't help but be thankful for. And I'm so glad that I found a place home here with Cause. It's a place full of API community, and I'm so glad I got the chance to do it with 13 other interns for 19 weeks and so many individuals who are cheering for us, empowering us, and constantly going to be the people that uplift and empower us. I've said it before multiple times to my fellow cohorts that I hope that one of them runs for office, and when they do, I'm going to be the first one to sign up for that campaign so I can work with them. I do notice that there are a few individuals here that I can't help but give a quick shout out to. They're on the slide here in front of all of you, but I couldn't have been able to do this without them. And more specifically, I do have 2 special guests here that the cohort is very familiar with. Come here, you two.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for.
It's so happy. The cohort, I'm passing this
Thank you, Jen. Attending high school with less than 10 other Asian Pacific Americans in my graduating class, I never had a strong community of people who understood my culture and values. And I didn't know what I was missing out on until this summer. Throughout the Leadership Academy, I learned how special it is to collaborate with other Asian Americans who care just as much about social justice as I do, and hear from leaders in various fields who showed me that advocacy can take so many different forms. Steve and Justine, thank you so much for helping me build a community that I know will be there to support me far into the future. And thank you to my fellow interns, guest speakers, cause staff, and board members for being a part of that community. With that, I will pass it over to Nate.
Thank you, Lena. So, how do I sum this up? It has been an amazing 9 weeks, definitely. Like this panel is showing, I learned the power of working with others towards a common goal, also creating a deeper understanding of Asian community and heritage. And I would just like to especially thank Justine, Steve, and Nancy for actually giving me this opportunity to join cause and making my first internship experience such a memorable experience. And thanks to my amazing cohort that also made this experience and memorable experience, allowing this space to happen for me to create some lifelong friendships, and just overall deep thanks to the whole cause organization. And with that said, I'll pass it to Patrick Fang.
Thank you, May. Like with what everyone else has been saying, I want to reiterate how grateful I am for this internship and all the incredible people and perspectives I've had the chance to be connected with through it. Thanks to our incredible speakers, I now have such a more intimate understanding of how APA advocacy and civic engagement is facilitated by leaders across many different sectors and disciplines. And it just feels so much more accessible and even possible now for me to see myself participating as one. A huge thanks also has to go out to Steve, Justine, Nancy, and Farah, who have spent so many hours with us guiding throughout this entire experience. I, of course, have to also thank my amazing cohort for having been such a warm and welcoming community. Thank you for all the fun, memes, and inside jokes, and I'm hoping I'll be able to stay in touch with many of you all for a while. Particularly, I have to shout out the members of my project group, Lena and Emily and Shanahan, who even in the first week of our internship, I already knew were going to become a family. I love you guys. Thank you. With that, I'll pass it off to Sasha.
I'm sorry. Okay. Being from the East Coast and then moving to the West Coast for school, there's a huge shift for me, but being part of cause allowed me to definitely immerse myself more into the culture and the politics and different equity issues within the state. I want to thank all the other interns, all the mentors that we've had speak to us, all the staff and board members at cause. But I also want to thank all my friends and family who helped support me, and all my mentors who helped bring me to this point. And with that, I'm going to pass it to Sean Lee.
Hi, everybody. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who joined in and was very supportive throughout our virtual graduation. But I first want to, thank, the whole cause staff, the board members, and of course, to my cohort team, Fiona and Suki, and how we've all, dedicated our way through, even during this virtual time, even during the pandemic. But, overall, I think when I first came into this program, I was very familiar, and I was a former volunteer at cause during high school. And I think the steps I took from now was a very interesting path, because doing this academy itself was very different from just, volunteering with cause or just doing little minor things. But I think, taking this big step was a very new step for me. And I think it really informed me to be educated, to be respectful, and also to be informative. And I think all the resources, right, not just the political side of it, but the resources, the workshops, and the amount of panelists we had. And I just wanted to, thank them as well for giving us one of the best resources and how we could connect in our future goals as well. And I think overall, just learning about the API issues is a very critical thing, especially during this time. And I think we need to, realize how us as a youth community and how as future leaders of tomorrow we want to really make that decision as a whole, because I think it's critical how for the next step in our lives and how if the future leaders will come into play, we want it to be the most, not just informative, but we also want to be the ones who want to make the biggest impact. So I think just starting off with the Leadership Academy itself was a very good step of taking the step forward. So I think I just want to thank everyone for that and how welcomed me to this cohort. And now I just wanted to pass it next to Sean Tan. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Just want to give a shout out to Steve and Justine for being so amazing this summer, as well as the rest of the interns for being so supportive and hardworking. It's really good to see our hard work pay off this summer. Also want to give a shout out to my team, Andy, Sasha, especially Byron for sticking with me the entire summer. And with that being said, I'll pass it off to Suki Zhao.
Hello, thank you, Sean. CLAS has really allowed me to open my eyes and just learn about the Asian American community. I'm actually from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so there's very little to almost no Asian American community presence. So, which is why I originally intended to apply for this program, because I want to learn more about the Asian community, like the issues involved with it, and what I can do to help address it. And all the knowledge I gained over the summer, I hope to bring it back to the Midwest with me, so that I can also help the Asian community Asian community members that are there, because although the community is small, it does exist. And also, I just want to thank everyone, all the staff at CAUSE, the board members, and all of my fellow cohort members for making such a memorable summer for me. I also want to especially thank my own team members, Sean, Lee, and Fiona, for dealing with all the gathered town Wi-Fi internet issues I've had. It's just for accommodating me and for supporting me. And lastly, also a big thank you to the audience for attending today. Thank you all for supporting us and celebrating us today.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for those reflections on the summer. Thank you all for the work you have done. Thank you for being present online. And thank you for allowing us to be on this journey with you. So that said, I want to invite our audience once again to join me in congratulating our 2021 CLA graduates. And if you could drop into the chat your congratulations, if you could use the applause function at the bottom there, the emojis, it'd be much appreciated. What we we were able to share with the interns some graduation boxes, and included in it were a number of gifts to commemorate this occasion. And in addition to those, we will be sending you recognition certificates from Treasurer Fiona Ma's office. And we also wanted to take a moment to invite the CAUSE board members to take a photo with us. So while we prepare for that photo, I would like to recognize the families, the friends, and all the supporters here today. Thank you for supporting these amazing individuals as they pursue their dreams and passions. Your love and support is essential for these graduates and all that follows after. Again, please give a last round of virtual applause for our 2021 CLA interns. Then I believe, Farah, will you lead us out for the photo?
Yes, I will. Staff, may you also turn on your cameras? I'm just going to give it a few seconds. Tilly, I'm looking at you, board all here. Awesome, congratulations. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all joining us too.
And to make sure that we include our audience, not only just in attending and participating in the presentation, asking questions, we also wanted to give our audience an opportunity to share any words of congratulations that they have for our graduates. You can most definitely, as I'm seeing plenty of congratulations in the chat, but we would also like to offer an opportunity if you'd like to share some words of encouragement or observations of your interns or general congratulations to our intern class. You can feel free to raise your hand. We will bring you over to the panelist side. You can unmute yourself, start your video, and share your comments that way. So I see that Gary has his hand up. Oh, I think you are still muted, Gary.
Oh, sorry. I got to learn technology here. Congratulations, group. Stay in touch with your fellow members and stay in touch with cause. Best to you guys.
Anyone else? I know the board members are already in here. So if you want to say anything, feel free to just go ahead and unmute and share your congratulations. But it was great presentations, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with us this summer and kind of rolling with everything. It was really fun having you. And I feel like I learned a lot beside you with all the speakers. So thanks to everyone who was just part of sharing information with the cohort.
Yeah, I just want to say, I sat through many of these graduations, and this is probably one of the most enjoyable ones, even though this is done in Zoom, believe it or not. I see the camaraderie that you all have with one another. It makes me want to go back to college and then join Cause's internship. So congratulations in keeping me interested. And I think you've done a great job in producing a great product. And we hope to be able to leverage on that as we move forward. So again, congratulations, good luck on your endeavors, and we all hope to see you down the road.
I'd like to echo what Wen just said. I've been doing this for 20-some years now, and it is events like this to see the maturity, to see the sophistication and your interest and passion. These are the things that keep us going. This is the thing that motivate me to really continue and redouble our efforts. So the board, thank you for energizing us to continue our work. So thank you and best of luck.
Yeah, I'd like to also say something first. That's why you don't wait to say your comments in case someone else steals your thunder like Wen does. I couldn't have said it better. I too feel like I wish I could go back to college and really be part of it. The chemistry and the thoughtfulness that I really felt in today's presentation was just phenomenal. And just huge kudos to the staff as well. It's not easy to constantly reinvent the energy that they do through these virtual programs. So congratulations to everybody. Happy Friday. And thank you again for all the work that you did.
Let me join the other board members in congratulating the cohort for a successful program and challenge you because we have high expectations because we know the best is ahead for all of you. So amaze us in the future. We're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Wonderful. I know we did have an audience member that wanted to share some comments as well. I'll ask Anir to unmute themselves, and if you can, to turn on your camera as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anir Gubala. I'm here on behalf of Sasha Hussain. I just wanted to say that was a great presentation, and I learned a lot from it. Of course, I'm on the East Coast, so things are a little bit different here, but definitely a lot of the policies that were mentioned and a lot of the events that were mentioned happen here as well. Definitely learned a lot, and it was a great organized presentation, and I'm just proud of everyone. And I think it was a very, very well done.
Thank you, Anir. Any other comments that the audience would like to share with the group?
I think I just wanted to, as we close out, I'm going to say one more thing and kind of echo what Ralph shared, which is that there were a lot of moving pieces and a lot of change throughout this program. So I just really want to recognize the staff that put so much time into every piece of this. The interns were really, we're very impressed. It's been a really great ride with all of you, but Steve, Justine, Farah, Talia, I think all of you really came through, and as all of the changes came, you all really rose to the occasion. So thank you for the summer. It really showed in this work, and we can really feel the camaraderie in all of the cohorts and with you. So Thank you for what you do.
I do have one question. May I ask it?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Gary.
What age, Sean Lee, what age were you when you interned with Cause?
Oh, it was actually back in my junior and senior in high school. I remember I also volunteered at the 2019 CLA when they had when everything was back in person.
So you've been around a few years.
Yeah, I think I was also at the Woman in Power Gala as well. Back, I think it was in 2018, I believe, for this one.
Great. Thanks for all of your years of service to Cause.
And thank you to all who came and helped us celebrate our CLA intern class of 2021. Again, thank you all for coming. This concludes our graduation program, and I hope you all have a fantastic weekend.